The first speaker is Dr. Kirsty Carden, who's the Associate Professor in the Department of Civil Engineering and the Interim Director at the Future Water Research Institute at UCT. Lovely to have you here, Kirsty. Thank you very much for joining us. Let's start with what your understanding is of a blue-green city.
So, yeah, my understanding of a blue-green city. A blue-green city aims to create a nature-oriented city that has aspects of amenity and that also has aspects of building resilience to the impacts of climate change. So we've heard quite a lot about that already this morning. And what it does is that it integrates the different sectors across a city so that those blue-green elements can start providing the buffer to the various water-related risks that we've already heard about in terms of drought and flood and others that are actually all very interlinked. So what we're seeing in places like Durban recently with those really significant floods are very similar to what we experienced in Cape Town as a consequence of Day Zero and the droughts.
Yeah.
So, how we respond to those water-related challenges comes through in the ways that we think about blue-green cities. And of course, blue-green sort of interlinks with other terms like water-sensitive cities, water-wise cities, sponge cities. They're all very similar concepts that all use some form of green infrastructure, so plants, rain gardens, swales, the sort of trees, different plant vegetation infrastructure within cities to contribute to this blue-green space, and also the blue infrastructure, which are things like wetlands, ponds, rivers, groundwater, often forgotten. The sort of links between those blue assets and the green assets are what contribute to this livable, sustainable, resilient space.
So when we talk of a water design or water sensitive designed city, those are the elements that are considered by the designers of the city.
Yeah. So for example, if I can move on. Water sensitive design in this case is the process. So we're talking a lot about process today. It's how we put in place the resilience building initiatives for a water sensitive city. And the water sensitive city then becomes your destination. So those processes and the approach of water sensitive design are things like diversifying water sources, bringing in sustainable drainage elements so that you have that green infrastructure that starts protecting buildings and roofs and roads and that sort of thing. You have things like naturalization of waterways, using nature-based solutions for the treatment of waste, recycling waste. Even things like water conservation and demand management form part of the approach that is water sensitive design, because it starts to consider all those different aspects of physical infrastructure, the governance arrangements, which we've heard about from Sebastian already, and obviously social engagement, which is so important.